Speaking of hilarious, I'm joined with Double A Anthony Alford. This is Kyle Cornell. Pete's behind the board there running for us. Welcome back into episode number 2 of the Side Hustle podcast on, of course, TikTok, YouTube. You can find us all over the place. Side Hustle 216 is the handle. Search that. You can find us. First off, welcome in, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. First off, we have a name that we agreed to, I think, after the show.
Yeah. We kind of just threw it out there, and it just stuck pretty well. So
yeah. I have to acknowledge we had rave reviews from the first show, but I was not one of them because, and the reason why, I was told by a reliable P1 listener of this podcast.
It's like a tier thing, like Patreon, or how does that work?
P1, that's top tier listener.
Like Formula One? What's F? For some reason, I thought there was a science P in formula.
Fitness.
Yeah, for like half a second. Made no sense whatsoever. Every teacher that watches want to slap me over the head.
So I was told by a P1 listener that last week I wore too much gray.
Oh.
So I didn't realize, like,
I'm wearing a gray leather jacket.
Like with the background and stuff. It's like, oh, you had your jacket and everything. So I changed it up this week. We're brightening things up a little bit here for myself. So
I have colored lights. We can actually, now that you mention that,
Careful with that word.
colored lights that we can maybe do.
They won't talk to me anyway, so it won't matter.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, it's associated with me, so I just want to make sure everyone's okay.
I'm sorry, Pete.
That's all right.
You had to know it was coming.
I should have known.
You should.
Yeah. So no, we can as we keep going with this, we can make some adjustments.
No. This is fine.
We can do all sorts of fun stuff.
Well, the sad part is, I just realized this too. I am wearing the exact same polo and leather jacket that I was last week.
Well, because you're wearing a work shirt, isn't it?
Well, because it just happened to be the same day. I'm wearing the same stuff. I have like a rotation of polos I wear basically, and it just happened to be the same thing.
Well, one of the comments we got from the clips we posted this past week said, Kyle, you can't take your jacket off. Like, you no longer are settling in.
I'm cozy, all right? I feel good. Like,
but
don't clothes shame me, fans, all right? I feel comfortable like this. This
is
nice.
A balmy 70 degrees in the studio.
Yeah, but it's a frigid -2 outside.
True.
Like, hey, relax.
Just
okay?
in the hallway.
Yeah,
if the only thing you're worried about in this podcast is the fact that I'm wearing a leather jacket indoors, well, then that's a good thing. We're off to a pretty good start.
But this particular P1 viewer said, the studio's great. Loves the studio. It's fantastic. I told this P1 viewer, like, you haven't even seen half of the studio. This studio is amazing.
Yeah.
This person pointed out, though, that not you, me, she said, me.
I already know who this is now. He didn't have to say who it was.
All of you should know who this is. Said that you wore too much gray. Fine. All right, fine. All right.
Bring out your eyes. Gotta wear the red. The burgundy. The Ron Burgundy.
Absolutely. Gotta bring that out. I don't have my water. I was told before we started that you have a special bottle of water for me.
So it's not a bottle, it's a can.
Oh, boy.
And I got this water literally today from a homeowner I was working with ADT.
Okay.
Didn't know it existed. Kind of scared me a little bit when she brought it out. Thought for sure it was like some sort of alcohol.
I know. I have a feeling.
You also probably saw it because it's over.
No. I didn't. But I have an idea of what it is.
So this is called Liquid Death.
Yep.
This is legit. If you want a one shot, this people can see it. Yeah, this thing is mountain water, drinking water from the Alps. Yeah. Literally got this today from somebody. Oh. By the way, I'm at the studio today.
Oh, good.
That's my social media handle.
Good.
But
make sure you follow it.
Yeah, follow at studio.
All complaints go to
all complaints go to at studio. There you go. But no, so I have not tried this. I have no idea how it tastes.
Okay.
What they told me was that it tastes like pure water.
Okay.
Like clean, pure water. So, as of course, you being the superstar of the show.
Wait, do you both want to try this?
If we have cups.
Let me.
I mean, at the same point, I wanted to, because you have precedence.
Thank you.
Over everything. You are the superstar. I am just your leather jacket wearing inside sidekick.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You wanna make sure we create standards.
Exactly.
You know?
There's levels to who does what at this show, right?
Yes.
I was going to give you the honor to try this first.
All right. Well, Pete's going to get the cups. So.
Apparently, he's gonna. I looked over there before, and he's got a couple. Now, yeah, they're styrofoam, so if this ends up like burning a hole through it, we know obviously they're full of crap. But nevertheless, okay,
Look at this.
there we go. So I'm gonna.
So you promise this is water. This is
This
not...
is legit. It says mountain water,
Okay.
drinking water from the Alps. Now,
Okay.
granted, there is the slogan for this is actually "Murder Your Thirst."
That's great. Actually.
When I saw
That's
this,
amazing.
I immediately assumed this was like Corona or something like that, like some sort of like off-brand. Like I thought maybe it was best case scenario, it's like a seltzer, something like that. This is legit just water.
Okay.
Now it does say #death to plastic. We donate 10% of the profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. So they're using the death in many different facets of water. Normally, I associate water with life, but I guess they've decided to go the opposite direction.
Well, I'm thirsty. Let's try this out.
Okay, so we're
Let's
gonna
go.
pop this. I'm gonna tap this so I don't. Not a lot of carbonation. That's good.
That's a great start.
Yep. So we're gonna pour this. Give you some of that. I don't want to over pour and then have you not like it. I don't want you to.
Here we go.
Yeah. So hold on. We got a
Oh, we got a toast.
to a successful start
That's right.
and a great podcast
That's
with
right.
the star and the lackey that wears a leather jacket inside. All right.
Got to cut down on the gray.
There you go,
From the personalities, not the studio.
That's not bad.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell mountain water. Tell you what. This is a working man's water. This is a working man's
Pete,
water.
if you want some, then we haven't taken any out of this.
I'll go grab myself another cup.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
like
this is a working man's water.
it's not bad.
Like you worked hard, you're running miles and stuff.
Do you have a full beard and worked a day in the forest? Treat yourself.
Hold up. Give me that can. Let me see if this works. Let me see here.
You got to work for that sponsorship.
Yeah.
There you go.
Real men of genius.
We got to hook Pete up. We got to get him some too, because it is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of scary. You can have the rest, man. I'm good. Again, you're the star.
Do you like the mountains?
The Alps. Fantastic.
Kyle knows all the mountains.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, I'm a mountain connoisseur. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Because I was trying to drop some mountain analogies last week, and I didn't know any.
That's actually very nice.
I'm surprised.
It's
Pretty damn good.
I was concerned that it would be kind of taste like the can. Sometimes you get that kind of like metallic taste or something, and I wouldn't say it tastes like nothing.
There is like
but it's
It tastes like it came from a mountain.
yeah.
Like I feel like there's that natural taste, which when we're talking about water, usually you just can't taste anything.
Well, okay, so AA is looking for a contact number so we can get a sponsorship because
We're just gonna start tagging them in all the videos.
There you go.
Like, hey, we actually like your water. Like, if you guys are looking to
Hey, hook
pop
us
in.
up, man.
So I guess the story was they were originally selling out of Sam's Club here in Northeast Ohio,
Oh, okay.
and they actually expanded out. Now they're in Target, they're in Walmart, all this kind of stuff. It was initially a test run,
Oh,
so to
good.
speak. But now they're all over the place. So, yeah, I mean, not technically a sponsor, but Liquid Death, guys, if you want some good water. I mean, if you can get past the name.
Actually,
for
the
it.
name adds to the story, adds to their story.
It does.
And you'll be in good
Tell
shape.
your friends you're drinking Liquid Death. That's going to be a fun
Matter of
conversation.
fact, do that at work.
That name reminds me. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like in the chemistry, classrooms. They would have the thing about the dihydrogen oxide.
Mhm.
The warning labels of it's in every pesticide
yeah.
used.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's like it's. Cool.
Liquid Death may murder your thirst. Yeah, that's what.
Love it. It's really good.
That's not bad.
Love it.
Next time I go to Sam's Club, I'm gonna
Hopefully they still
Maybe
have it. I guess
yeah.
when I was talking to the homeowners today, they were kind of telling me they used to sell big like 12 packs or whatever
Okay.
it is. Obviously, it's in the cans or whatever it is. They haven't been able to find them recently.
Well, if it's at Sam's, I'll see if I can get some for the studio.
Oh, hell yeah.
There you
dude.
go.
And then we'll make some calls. We'll see if Liquid Death.
It's probably a lot more expensive than the plastic bottles that we currently have.
Could you imagine from the Liquid Death Studios?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
Speaking it to existence.
I mean, we're just kind of talking about it.
Speaking it to
I
existence.
mean, Liquid Death, we could talk about it, or you could be about it. I mean, that's what's going to happen with
man.
that. I don't know.
I think that would be a fantastic sponsor for a podcast.
That would
about
be
wrestling.
great. You
Just
imagine the road to WrestleMania.
Brought to you by Liquid Death.
Yeah. Stone Cold.
Death. So we should probably, I guess, at some point talk some wrestling.
Oh, for real?
And we actually,
If there was a program director overseeing this show, they would be. Let's go. Let's go. You're wasting time. Let's go. Get to the point. That was all of my my meetings with Andy. During the first, like, before I knew how to host a show at the Fan, like, did the first show, and they were like, you got to your point, Mr. Alford, you got to your point 25 minutes into the 7 o'clock hour.
Which is pretty much where we're at right now. Too, yes. Actually talked to Andy today. So
Good.
yeah, well,
Good.
some would call it good.
Would you call it good?
I'd call it more of the same.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you gotta keep working hard, man.
That's what we're doing.
Gotta keep on going.
That's what we're doing, man.
All right, let's go.
So yeah, the people really decided to reach out to us, both obviously on your social medias because you have everything besides everything, essentially for me. I have just TikTok because that's where you run the TikTok now. I've decided to dedicate to doing that, trying to get usually about a video a day posted, that kind of thing. Double A's obviously diligent, sending me clips, and I'm just trying to cut them up and make them all pretty for you guys, that kind of stuff. But we can kind of start with yours because I feel like mine's gonna end up being like a rant for the TikTok comments.
Yeah. So I flat out reached out today. I was like, so what do you want to talk about? I pulled a Cody. I'm like, so what do you want to talk about?
I knew your middle name was Cody.
So there was a few. I'll tell you what, on my Facebook, there's a few who flat out do not like AEW whatsoever. Like there was one comment that said,
A few.
Like there was one. My dude Tyrell, he's like, AEW ratings are being inflated. Like, I don't know about that.
To what though? They're not beating anybody besides everyone. They're competing with WWE, but they're not beating WWE really in anything.
But let me ask you this. So, Josh, he also commented on those thoughts, and he says he enjoys AEW from the sports aspect of things. But his angle of things is that you don't have to be just a WWE fan, or you don't have to be just an AEW fan. Like, why is the competition important, from that standpoint? Is it, I guess from our standpoint, Kyle, let me ask you this. Do you want to see AEW do well?
I'm indifferent just because I see how it's run. I think if it was run well, then yeah, of course I want to see it do well. But the problem is the person who's running it is just a fan.
Mm.
And it ties into a little bit of what a couple comments on TikTok was about me, making comments about Kenny Omega or whatever it was, and how I was upset he's a better athlete or a good athlete. They're all good athletes. Like all these guys and girls, train their asses off and all that kind of stuff. The problem is Kenny Omega has no actual training in wrestling. And just to clear the record too,
even with the Japan stuff that he's done for years,
he didn't get trained. He got beat over there. That's what it was essentially. That's their training, is beating you down until you respect them, and then you just work through that stuff. It is what it is. But like, from my perspective, Double A, you know this obviously, knowing me for almost a decade, former D1 athlete. I don't have to brag about it. It wasn't like I was an all-star, whatever it was, that kind of stuff. But I made it to that level. Like, I made it to that 1-2% of like, hey, you're pretty damn athletic to be here. Not anymore, obviously. I've fallen far from that. But at the same point, these guys are all amazing athletes. But if you can't work, the true definition of work, also, by the way, trained to be a wrestler for a few months. So I have been in a ring before.
You run the ropes.
I've ran. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's deflating. Basketball shape. I
Mm.
ran the ropes and I still got tired.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I understand that it's you have to have that stamina, but there is a thing called selling and about telling a story. And if you just keep drop kicking somebody or super kicking somebody 14 times in a row and take a huge 450 splash and get right back up, that's selling everybody out. It's taking away the point in which you're supposed to lose yourself in that moment. You're taking away the I'm just like you. The problem is Kenny Omega was a face for a long time, still kind of technically is. Heel Omega, of course, I'm cool with whatever, but and again, I feel like I'm kind of going down a bunch of different rabbit holes, but at the same point, at the end of the day, it's like, guys, it's the reason why I deleted social media in the first place, and I'm glad I got that refresher course on TikTok of all places. But like, you don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about you, right? I mean, I'm going to say stuff. We're all going to have different opinions, right? It's the reason why we have the platform. It's the reason why we open up comments to get your point of view. But if you're going to start taking shots for no reason, you don't work for AEW. You live in your mom's basement. All right, like
not the basement.
Like, I mean, let's be real here, okay?
I mean, maybe the
like,
attic, but I mean, the basement's
whatever.
It's a sacred
and that's
place.
that's not a bad thing. Save that money, all right? But the point I'm trying to make is, if we're talking generals, neither of us are in the wrestling business. So I never get that. And you brought up the whole point of this is the tribalism that kind of exists between WWE and AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want AEW to fail? No, I don't. I want there to be a spot where people can go and it be actual competition. The problem is, it's not actual competition for WWE. They don't see it as competition. And the fact that AEW believes that beating the third brand that's a developmental brand is a win and makes them competition is why this whole thing is a joke to begin with.
Hey. You don't think them beating NXT with John Cena and The Undertaker on the card?
They didn't.
Actually, they did not beat them.
That was the
night.
episode that NXT had over 200,000 more
right.
viewers. Now, they didn't crack 1 million because it's still NXT, but still.
Now, I get,
you see my point. You have all of your stars on Dynamite. You have everybody there. Everybody. The Moxleys, the Jerichos, whatever, the MJFs, all that. And you don't even come close to a Raw or a SmackDown. That's why they don't consider you real competition. It's not because I don't like their product or whatever it is. I just like to tell the truth. It's right there in front of you. Oh, but we had more than a 19 to 49 or 45 demo.
Hey,
congratulations.
Man. Hey.
You're still losing. You're not getting more fans. You're not drawing more people in. You have a niche group of people that watch the show. That's why the numbers don't go up and down unless you sign a CM Punk.
True.
You sign that kind of guy. I'll give you some advice, too. When McIntyre eventually decides to leave and goes to AEW, which I'm sure will happen at some point, maybe in the near future, guess what's going to happen? Absolutely fucking nothing. No moving of the needle.
What, he's not going to go to a real locker room?
No. And honestly, he might get talked out of that because he's going to see what happens over there. It's.
Well, I will say.
I hate that.
I know. I'll say this before we move on. I always want, as you know from what we talked about last week, I always do want the number 2 to do well. It makes number 1 better when number 2 is doing well. But again, it's about organization, it's about execution, it's about week-to-week dealings. And yeah, AEW to this point has dropped the ball. Are there some good things going on at AEW right now? Sure.
There's some good things going on in TNA. There's some good things going on in MLW and New Japan. The problem is the people that are AEW diehards assume that AEW is the number 1 show. And that's the problem.
And the people that's going to really make the decision, the AEW TV deal's up at the end of the year.
Warner Brothers is going to get Raw, probably. So what's going to happen then? I'm sure they'll find a streaming service to get on, which is going to be... We were joking about WWE going to one of those, but honestly, it might be AEW that has to go.
Hey, they can get on Bally Sports Plus. Maybe the app will finally work. All right, let me give you another question here. So, this for my guy David Gordon, my dude. What's going on? Hope everything's going well down there in Columbus.
Shout out.
Is a part-time champ like Roman actually a good thing? Now, Kyle, you hit on this a little bit last week. I think at this point, you have one champion who's not really there in Roman, except for the big events. But we've been conditioned and used to that. And then you have Seth Rollins, who might be defending his championship too much.
He's there every single night.
There doesn't seem like, and when you said this last week, it really hit the nail on the head. It doesn't seem like there is a respectable balance between the two champions.
It's literally the two extremes, I think is what I said before, too, where it's, you got one guy who's there 4 or 5 matches a year, and one guy who's got a couple matches every week. So it's kind of tough. And then you see, obviously, what happened with Seth at Raw, where he banged up his knee a little bit. I don't think it's going to be too serious, but still, it's another thing where it's like the guy wants to keep working and keep going to all the house shows and do all this stuff, and it's like, man, there's a balance.
You got to make it to WrestleMania.
Exactly.
If you're Rollins right now, you have got to make it to WrestleMania. You cannot have your knee fall apart at a house show.
Also, his contract, I believe, is up in August.
I believe so.
So missing time elongates the period of time you have to wait if you do decide to move on to a different company, which I don't think he's going to. He's always been a Triple H guy, and
wouldn't that be something?
that'd be the big.
That
would be something.
That would be
now,
something.
That's a CM Punk type
move. Can you
move.
imagine
Yeah.
this whole time? It's like, I'm a WWE guy. I'm the
he
guy.
leaves and Punk is the champion when he leaves.
He leaves and goes to AEW. And he says Tony Khan is the greatest promoter of all time. He knows professional wrestling.
Triple H would, I think, actually probably have another heart attack because that would be that's like his son at this point, right? I mean, he puts so much time and effort, multiple storylines, including himself, from the Authority all the way through that WrestleMania storyline, all the way through into Seth and into Becky, who's obviously, it's probably going to be hand in hand there. They made sure they timed up where their contracts were going to expire at the same time so they could both kind of look around. And I think a lot of that has to do with the landscape of WWE come August.
Mm-hmm.
Who's here? Who's not?
Right.
That kind of stuff. Who's profitable? Who's not? Who's still got a chance? I mean, Seth obviously does, but we're going to talk about Becky in a few minutes and what's kind of her situation at this point. But that's probably the one guy besides like Roman, but Roman wouldn't go because he's got it made in the shade right now.
Yeah, Roman's set.
Tony want him to work, but like it's one of those things where Seth could be that one where if you see Tyler Black pop up in AEW, you're like, oh,
maybe,
okay.
and you need another mind in there. Let me get to the Roman part though.
Yeah,
part-time Roman at this stage is better than part-time WWE champion Brock Lesnar, better than part-time WWE champion Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
At least with Roman, the first part of the Bloodline story, when he was champion, he was there every week.
Mm-hmm.
He was building up stories and putting the Bloodline, the foundation of the Bloodline together. And he did build up a good, rapport of top-level opponents. So in a way, he has earned the right to be part-time. Anytime he's back, it is pretty special. But, yeah, to the point of there's no particular balance. That does hurt, but at the same time, the last decade we've been conditioned to have part-time champions, because of Brock. So I guess now as a fan, we're kind of used to it at this point. It's frustrating.
It's sad because like he was the epitome of the full-time guy before.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. He's kind of following the same fold that Cena did, where call out The Rock, you're a part-timer, you're a BSer. Roman Reigns calling out John Cena, part-time bitch, that kind of stuff.
But it's the formula, right?
But you're going back in circles now where Roman's getting movies, he's getting those opportunities.
Yeah, it's the formula. It works. Roman is a Hollywood. He can act.
Mm-hmm.
Roman can act. And when this is all said and done, he will be in Hollywood. Like the work that he did, especially in the Thunderdome days.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The problem with Roman, though, is too, like, you've made him such a special attraction that when he does inevitably lose that championship, there's, like, nothing really else for him to do. That's why I wanted to save the Rock storyline for after he lost the title. It's almost a redemption type thing where I'm still the leader of this family, but The Rock comes back, and no pun intended, but The Rock comes back and says, yeah, man, you dropped the ball. Now I'm here to take over the family, that kind of thing. That wrote itself, and it doesn't, like, give The Rock an avenue to be champion because it's another part-time champion.
Well, I still think you could pull that story, a variation of that story off.
You could just wait another year.
Well, if Roman loses... So the idea of last year of Cody beating Roman, my assumption was that I thought, okay, Cody wins this match, he does his thing as champion, and now for the next year is the downfall of the bloodline. It's the bloodline
slowly falling apart.
Seams
fall.
Roman can never get things back, and those kind of things. And then somebody like Jey Uso would actually overtake Solo as the new leader of the bloodline, something like that. That obviously did not happen.
No. We're in the fourth inning.
I know. And that part is like, of Dude. What?
It almost makes you wonder, like, what are they... Because after he passes Hogan in, like, October or something like that, I mean, the next closest person is Backlund, I believe, right? Or San Martino's first run or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, and that's years away. Like, you can't... I mean, and I get Roman's, I think, 37, 38, somewhere in there. So he's still relatively young when it comes to wrestling. But again, it's like that situation where the problem is they've almost booked themselves into a point where, yeah, when he loses that championship, what else does he have?
That is true.
Because who does he feud with? Is the side feud with Solo? Is there? I mean, it almost has to be family based. Because if not, why does anybody else want a piece of Roman after he's lost that championship? They're gonna want to go after that title.
Well, of course.
So it's yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, and then you can't just like book him at, it's a random backlash. Here's Roman Reigns back fighting this random guy. Like, you can't do that anymore. Like, it's not. You could do that in 2017. You can't do that now.
No.
So he's kind of in this really weird spot, and it's above even a guy like Lesnar, where like Brock can come back and take on a mid card guy for a mid card title or do whatever, or face someone like, like an AJ Styles, that kind of person who's a main eventer, but not really that guy.
Right.
Cody Rhodes, main eventer, not the guy yet. That
exactly.
Kind of thing. That can make sense for Brock. Roman's not coming back and doing that shit.
Right. I want to pin the Royal Rumble surprise entrance to our show next week. Next week we'll do basically it'll be essentially Royal Rumble base. Mm-hmm. We'll do surprises. We'll do the final four for each for the men and women, and ultimately who's going to win and surprises, all of that. But my last question on my side. So this is kind of long form. I'm going to simmer it down now. So. I think we have a good idea of what the main events are probably going to be at WrestleMania. We think. The assumption is Roman versus Cody or Roman versus Rock on that side, and then Seth versus Punk on the Raw side. That's the assumption. Again, we'll talk more about that next week. But do you believe that WWE at this moment has a good problem that they're loaded with main event talents at the top of the card?
Yeah,
on both shows.
Well, they definitely do. I think that's never a bad problem to have, right? I mean, having that many guys that you can trust. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, all these guys are all. Randy's still obviously pretty insane to think about, but nevertheless, they can all do that. You can have a main event with Jey Uso and Ludwig Kaiser on Raw because Jey has that connection with the fans.
Although I will say this about Jey. Love Jey. Jey's my dude. Love the Yeet shirts. The problem with saying
stand
Yeet,
on business.
The problem with saying Yeet, we were at the Raw in Cleveland. When you say Yeet, Yeet drives through the Adam's apple. Yeet. It drives. And you say it with your base. Yeet.
Come on, Pete, give me one.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeet.
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 So. So imagine chanting with all your manhood, yeet, yeet, during the opening segment.
I want to hear you and your manhood say yeet. Come on, Pete.
Yeet.
There it is.
There it is. There it is.
He found it.
Now imagine doing that for like 20 minutes straight at the beginning of the show.
I thought I was at like a rock concert when I was doing my hands up and down like that. Yeah.
Man.
I think my chest would hurt after.
I lost my voice the rest of the show.
I told you I can't scream. It's come down to I just can't do it, and that's one of the reasons why some of these chants are insane.
So people were like, wait a minute, how come the crowd in Cleveland was a little bit quiet? Except during the Punk Rollins thing, that was great. But other than that, like, how come the crowd was quiet? I'm like, well, at the beginning of the show, we gotta say yeet. I'm like that. I don't know how much energy I have left for this show. You make me. You think for a split second I'm going to have energy for 3 hours?
Liquid Death is good, but he may fall over in like a second from boredom, tired, whatever it is. Double A kind of.
I mean, it works out your throat, man. We need to. I'm not saying reevaluate Yeet because it's a great shirt, great merch. It's a great thing for Jey Uso.
It's blurred out now.
No, they brought it back.
Well, so but then he decided to debut the blurred Yeet shirt.
Right.
Which I thought I was having a stroke when I was looking at that thing. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Like my TV's still blurring it out. They said it was fine.
Right.
It's all part of it. Yeet, got it back. Yeet. What the hell?
And then Jimmy on SmackDown.
No Yeet.
No Yeet.
No Yeet. Original.
But man, we gotta. So my advice to Triple H, for those who think we are not critical of WWE, my advice to Triple H: when you plan on having a Jey Uso segment, whether it's a match or just a promo, put on an act that nobody cares about afterwards.
Not our truth.
Our truth's not. Put on somebody that will guarantee the crowd to go to the restroom. Something, anything. You cannot put on a hot show or try to have a hot show after you force the fans to say Yeet. That will impact the crowd. This is not a complaint, but my throat did suffer on Raw when it was here in Cleveland because I was forced to yell out Yeet for 20 minutes.
Hey, man, you can go Yeet so many times.
My section, other than the people I went with, sucked. So we had to carry the entire section because nobody was participating in the show.
Hey, man, you couldn't find anyone else to Yeet?
Nobody else. Like, there was us, myself, Rebecca, Mac Robinson, and, we were there. There was a row below us that was participating.
Who was there? One by one. Who was there?
Rebecca.
Yeet.
Mac.
Yeet.
His friend.
Yeet.
The row below us.
Yeet.
And then everybody else.
No Yeet.
No Yeet. And the rest of the rest of our section, basically no Yeet the rest of the show. Had to carry our section.
Nothing worse than a no Yeeters. My goodness.
I'm like, it is your job. And I do want to acknowledge the one kid that sat behind us to the side a little bit who cheered for all the bad guys.
Roman Reigns. That's where he was. Oh, okay.
So something we have to examine as we go forward here. Once Rumble is set, you do have the chamber, but all these other guys are going to need something to do. Mm-hmm. And we will examine all of that. In fact, as Kyle informed me before our taping tonight, after Rumble, we will predict fully the Night 1 and Night 2 WrestleMania cards.
And then we're going to check it the show before WrestleMania to see if we actually got the predictions correct. Now, that's obviously going to have a Royal Rumble winner on both sides, the men and women, so we'll know who that is. Mm-hmm. So we'll get an idea, and we'll probably get those matches right, I would assume, as far as who they're facing, unless curveballs happen. But nevertheless, yeah, it's going to be fun, and we're probably going to be wrong.
And you know what?
pretty bad.
And I'll say this: if we are wrong, then hopefully we're wrong because there's compelling television, and there's not a stalemate of writing for the next couple of months. So hopefully that's a good thing.
We should do a contest between you and I, where the loser has to do something as far as who gets the most right or wrong picks or predictions for it.
Yeah.
Maybe person who gets the least amount correct gets pied in the face. Because, everybody loves pie.
We need to discuss that because this is a beautiful studio. I don't want this studio
Well, we would
be
make sure we
full
put
of
some
pie.
tarps down. It would be a separate thing. I'm not going to have us do it in the middle of an episode. No.
We'll have to go to the complete other section of the studio.
Yeah, or we can, do whatever. I mean, I'm just saying. I think that's pretty.
All right, real quick before we move on. On TikTok, though, I know they were we kind of addressed it before. They was pretty much talking about the Kenny Omega. So AEW fans are on TikTok.
So, yeah, and there was a couple guys that actually said, hey, I couldn't watch the main event, which that's the whole reason what you build your show around is the main event. If you can't watch the main event, that's supposed to be the top stars of that show.
Well, that was a WCW thing, right? Remember, people can watch the cruiserweights and people can watch the mid-card and the upper, they can watch Diamond Dallas Page, but the moment that Hulk Hogan and the NWO, those guys came out, those were unwatchable main events.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And then again, You're also, when I say that I can't fully sit through an episode of AEW, people are assuming that I love everything WWE does. I don't. But I don't find everything they do offensive. They have certain acts that are built in as comedy acts that are actually, normal type guys. So, and girls, that kind of stuff that are built into those roles. So I can appreciate that. And I know what they are. And again, AEW has some of those acts too. But the problem is they'll show off guys like an Orange Cassidy and say, this guy's legit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, nothing against the dude. I don't know who he is, like any of that stuff. But at the same point, it's like Michael Kelly made the joke on Facebook. What's the status quo for guys being under 5'10"? Yeah. Like, he's got to be 5'2", $110, soaking wet. Like, the dude's tiny. Also, hands in his pockets the entire time.
But that's his thing now. That's
But it'd be one thing if he's presented as a comedy act, but the problem is Tony is trying to push him as a main event star. And you can't build a company off of Orange fucking Cassidy.
But that's the international, or was the international champion.
How many other titles are you going to create too in the company as well? My God.
I'm sorry, Kyle, that you can't win an AEW championship.
You're right, I can't.
They have 40
I don't
of them.
want
I'm
to.
sorry you can't win an AEW championship.
I could be like one of the 14 different guys that have had their belts stolen or lost at AEW as well while we're at it. Chris Jericho, Wardlow, MJF at one point. Jesus Christ.
Can somebody send to our studios here at Parma a AEW championship for Kyle Cornell?
So
Please.
I can burn it?
Please send him. Send him. Pete, put a one shot on Kyle right now. Put a one shot. Send this young man right here. There is pain through that smile. Send him an AEW championship of some kind. You have 40 of them. Send something to him.
You have a wide selection.
You have a ton. Send something to this man right here. He is begging for it. Please. Right here in Parma, Ohio. Send something to him.
So, again, this is the thing I would just want to... Yeah, you're welcome. I just want to point out, I don't hate AEW. I don't. What I hate is the people that make it competition with WWE. And that's not saying WWE is this great, amazing, no-issues product. No, nobody's perfect. But the problem is being number two and understanding you're number two. There's nothing wrong with being number two.
But you don't want to be told that you're number two.
Well, then don't do it because you're not going to be number one. There's no way. I don't care if Seth Rollins goes there, Becky Lynch, it doesn't matter. Mercedes Moné, any of these people. It's not going to move the needle enough. You don't have enough time. You're 5 years old. What do you think is going to happen? This company's been around for like 75 years. It's common sense. Build and be okay with it. It's not the end of the world.
But here's the thing. I think they were okay with that.
And then Tony Khan told them to hate WWE. Now it's all just a nightmare.
Well, I think what happened when they brought in CM Punk, they saw the needle move. They brought in Bryan, and then they brought in CM Punk.
All ex-WWE guys, by the way.
But they saw the needle move. And they lost the foundation of who they were. But the problem was the foundation was full of cracks anyway.
Because you have guys that weren't trained that are running your company.
They just need a strong number two. That's all. Tony just needs a strong number two just to delegate things. If Tony wants to be liked, and that happens in business, I think a lot of us do want to be liked. I think a lot of us have an issue with being the bad guy within our own workplace, within our own company.
Well, apparently line them up because I'm just knocking them down at this point.
But that's the thing, though. It's like, so if Tony is able to hire somebody and empower his number two, if Tony wants to be liked, fine. But bring in a number two who's willing to take on the bullets, who's willing to take on the bad things that's going on, who has to make those tough decisions, who has to overrule the Young Bucks in certain creative decisions. Bring in that number two. That's fine. You just need somebody there.
And they tried. And the problem is he couldn't handle it, so he went to WWE, and now he's a main eventer over there. And people actually like him. Yeah. His name is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And they can talk about how they're still friends and all that stuff, too. There's a reason why he left, and it's kind of obvious. Just saying.
Wouldn't that be something? We're going to have
People are talking about Cody going back to AEW. Why?
Who?
I've seen that a lot on like social media and like on Wrestle Talk.
Because
and all
Cody
that stuff.
hasn't signed
No,
He's going to sign.
He already re-signed.
Yeah.
That's the worst kept secret in the world. It's kind of like MJF. He's already re-signed with AEW. Cody Rhodes is already re-signed with, with WWE. It's just, again, a matter of when they want to announce it, that kind of thing. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Why?
I don't
He's been there. He's done that. He built that company, and they don't want him. They didn't want to listen. They wanted to do their own thing and not listen to the guy who's been literally in a ring since he was a baby. So...
It's amazing.
Not taking a shot at anybody. I'm just saying it. It's right there in front of you. Like, these guys don't like being told what to do. Tony doesn't stand up to the Young Bucks, to Omega, those guys. EVPs, why?
Yeah.
Because you were popular in Japan, and that was only one of them. The Young Bucks were not popular in Japan. They wanted him out. Omega was popular in Japan. I'll give credit where credit is due, because he's a supreme athlete. The Japanese crowd respected that.
But as we all know, they're a package deal.
Yes.
As always, they will be a package deal. I want to get to this women's match for Raw. Becky Lynch on Monday night pretty much went up to Rhea Ripley and essentially said,
"You're better than me.
You're better than me.
And you know it.
And you know it. But I have to prove that that's not true, basically."
Mm-hmm.
So she laid out her mission statement to win the Royal Rumble. And if she does win the Rumble, that's the target that she's going after, Rhea Ripley. I love that. I love what we saw from Becky. And the thing is, from Becky, amazing run at the top as the man going into that 2019 WrestleMania. I was there in New York when that match took place at like 12:15 a.m. there.
The ass crack of dawn when that match finally decided to rear its head.
Yeah.
And the entrances ended.
And the moment that Becky finally won the championship, we sprinted out of MetLife Stadium. But that was fantastic. And I guess it seems to me, and I know Becky is a huge star, but it seemed to me since that WrestleMania win, it's been 5 years. I don't know at this point if she has respect to the fans, but she has willingly taken a little bit of a backseat. And I think between that and being stuck with simply some bad storylines, like the heel run that she had,
That's
that Vince, that one of the last things Vince oversaw, that was rough.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to watch.
That was very hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think those events kind of set her back. And WWE, and her in particular, she needs this to kind of get her back to not just a main eventer, but a premier player on the WWE program.
Which is unfortunately kind of sad, because I do want to see Bayley win the Royal Rumble this year. I think she's due at this point, as far as like compelling storylines with Damage Control basically being run by Dakota Kai. I think we can all mention that now. She's the real leader of that group at this point. It's kind of obvious, but like, it's
cool. That storyline's fantastic.
It's honestly going very well.
Oh, it's
which is a bit surprising, because it kind of felt like maybe they were stagnant for a while and they weren't like really getting a lot of attention. And who would have thought adding more members actually paid off?
Yeah.
As far as like adding the Kabuki Warriors in with Asuka and Kairi Sane.
But they all have mission statements.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have kind of areas they want to go. And we're just waiting for Dakota Kai to just turn the corner and just... Yeah. That's obviously a match they could do at WrestleMania too, and that could bail Io Sky out of that or whatever it is. But Becky, you kind of put that nail on the head too. It kind of feels like she reached her peak, and she was able to kind of sustain that for a while. She let herself kind of go down a little bit and get out of that main event title scene after the heel run and stuff too, and then obviously had to run in NXT. It kind of felt like they were just waiting and just trying to buy time for this match.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's also a different side of Becky you haven't seen since before that WrestleMania match, right?
True.
As far as the one that says, I need to prove it.
Yeah.
She's always been since winning that championship, I'm the main eventer. I main event at WrestleMania. I've done this, I've done that. This is the first time her character has been like, hey, I'm almost acknowledging you to a standpoint of like, you're kind of better than me right now.
And she's at her best as the chaser.
Yeah.
She's at her best. So that tells me, first off, that I don't know if this match does go down at Mania for the Raw title. I don't know, or whatever the championship is.
I think you're right.
Yeah. The Women's World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Becky will actually get the W. I don't know. but I would push for it.
Triple H is in a long title reigns. He likes these guys and girls holding on to these belts for a minute.
I know.
Seth's going on. He's gonna by WrestleMania. It'll be about a year for him as World Heavyweight Champ. Roman's on like year 45,000 of his title reign. Like it's just insane. I didn't leave for North Dakota yet, and he was champion. That's insane to think about.
Amazing.
How long he's been
champion.
But yeah,
the only thing with Becky, let's just go back. I guess we could say it now because it's been 5 years removed. There was no need for Charlotte Flair to be inserted into that main event match.
They kind of ruined the heat of the Becky versus Ronda.
It was there on a silver platter. That match was there.
You didn't need any more star power. I think that was also Vince kind of going like, maybe we need a little bit more. So he threw Charlotte in. But to his credit, he didn't have her eat the pin. He had Ronda technically get pinned. It was kind of a bad pin. But
even still, that actually makes it even worse. So Ronda takes because you only pushed Charlotte in that match for her to take the pin. Mm-hmm. She did not take the pin. Ronda took the pin.
Yeah.
So there was no need. It was just the way that story went down. It should have been Becky going right into WrestleMania, fighting. You got Ronda right there. Ronda, I believe at that point had she wasn't a heel at that point, but she had established herself like UFC Ronda Rousey. Like, you got to overcome this. And for whatever reason, Vince McMahon shenanigans went down, and you got Charlotte, you got an extra belt, which wasn't needed. And it was just so much nonsense. Mm-hmm. And so I think Becky's run, even from the start of 2019, was kind of deflated a little bit. She did have a year afterwards where she was at the top as champion, but when you don't have strong enough opponents, that kind of hurts things. And then, of course, she was out for a year and a half with her pregnancy.
Yeah.
So, okay, you come back after your pregnancy as a heel?
People want to see you.
Yeah.
They've missed you. And I guess at first it was the Bianca Belair storyline, too, where it was kind of like, what are we getting with her, that kind of thing. And she'd beat her in like 40 seconds, whatever it is, that kind of stuff. Took the place of I forget who at that event. Maybe it was Carmella or something like that. But, it kind of felt a little off.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like this grand, holy crap, she's back. And, like, we want to, she was champion immediately.
Yeah.
And I think they could have benefited from, like, slow playing that a little more. Like, hey, I'm back. Came in at the end of the match to congratulate Bianca. But, of course, they had the damage control thing and all that stuff to kind of come a little bit later down the line the next year. It seems like every time, every SummerSlam, Bianca isn't like a event that just like is like landscaping and like changing the area of like women's wrestling. Can't wait for this year, by the way. Super excited. But yeah, it feels like this is a chance for Becky to kind of rebuild that back up.
Yeah.
And to get that like, hey, you are a true main eventer type thing.
Absolutely. Rhea, meanwhile, stud.
Mommy.
Stud. Everything she does.
It's
stud.
And I don't know if she wants to like get into like the Hollywood side of things. I hope she doesn't, just because I want to see her more doing this. But she's turning into the female version of Roman, where you just can't really put a finger on who should be the person. I mean, we obviously know we think it should be Becky, kind of like with Cody. It should be Cody beating Roman. But is it going to be her? And I give credit to Triple H building that seed of doubt in our minds. Like, hey, maybe it's not going to be Cody. Maybe no one's going to beat Roman. Maybe it's not going to be Becky. Maybe no one's going to beat Rhea. But like last week, when I predicted the 5 male superstars, I thought that would beat Roman Reigns, if not for Cody Rhodes.
Right.
I've done the same for Rhea Ripley today.
Oh.
Now, we can hold off on that for a minute if we have something else we want to talk about, but I want to make
sure.
Well,
no, let's get to it. But before we do, well, we can't do that because they're not technically our real sponsor. But if they were, Liquid Death Mountain Water.
Murder your taste. Murder your thirst.
Murder your thirst. It does not murder your taste. It enhances your taste.
I already blew our first non-live read immediately. Murder your taste. It should be murder your thoughts of what you thought water should taste like.
It does, yeah.
Because this is Liquid Death and it's fantastic.
This is?
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
Pretty your taste.
This is really good.
And apparently they have flavors and
I did you
teas
do.
and yeah.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
They told me there was a bunch of different flavors too, which I was like, oh wow.
Yes, they have
really?
like black tea and like all sorts of different like flavored.
We're doing this. Like I'm reaching out.
We got to.
Oh, 100%.
We got to.
Listen,
And
we
you can get the mountain water on Amazon.
Nice.
Okay.
But it's like
expensive as hell.
It's like $12 for 8 cans.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's canned water.
For this quality of water, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And the can too. You
Well,
can
the
save
can
those.
the can itself is pretty cool.
We could do a liquid death wall.
Yeah, look
You
at that.
Look at blending in. Look at that. Both shots.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
a little bit of this.
A little bit of that.
A little bit of that.
Make sure you get this. This water is fantastic. Kyle got me this for the first time today, and it's fantastic.
Credit what credit's due to the homeowners I talked to today. They introduced me. Just like a couple weeks ago, I told you about Prime. Another homeowner that I talked to that ended up working with me with ADT, she ended up also introducing me to Prime. Which, whether you like or dislike Logan Paul, Prime is actually fantastic. So
Hey, and Logan Paul, and we'll have time down the road to talk about Logan Paul. Logan Paul's that dude. Logan Paul's that
he's a dude, all right. Yeah.
He's a dude. Are you not a fan of Logan Paul?
I love Logan Paul.
Okay.
I love him and Jake. I think if you're from Northeast Ohio, I have a soft spot for you a little bit, even if you're not from the hardened streets of Westlake, whatever it is. But at the same point, it's honestly, it's refreshing. It's a little different, and he gets it.
Yeah.
Logan gets WWE.
I will lump in the Paul brothers into the same category as Taylor Swift.
Oh, no.
From this standpoint.
Well, you just pissed off everybody on the internet.
No.
Here we go.
No, from this standpoint.
No longer the villain. Awesome.
No,
this is great.
No, you'll be in good shape. I wanted to hate on Taylor Swift when she started dating Travis Kelce. I wanted to hate on that
Homies
so
from Cleveland
bad.
Heights, man.
So, well, Kelsey's fine, but it's the whole, like, Taylor Swift thing. You got to like her, got to do this, got to do that. And I wanted to hate on it so bad. But something happened. She goes to every game. Like, every game.
She has a world tour going on. And
Yeah.
she still finds a way to be in Kansas City on a Sunday night.
And, like, she's not just
What?
going to, like,
Yeet.
she's not just going to, like, warm weather cities.
No.
She's spending her Christmas in Green Bay.
Well, she's gonna be in Buffalo.
She's going to Buffalo. She's going to be there.
I mean, she's gonna be in a suite, so it's not like she's
not roughing into the stands with the fans, but
Yeah.
at the same point, we can appreciate the fact that she's supposed to be elsewhere.
I understand. And I get that. Like, but her suite was frozen last week. And she was there. She didn't ask for special treatment. It was like,
she was doing the
hey.
wave. She was doing a whole bunch of stuff in there. Yeah, dancing.
She wasn't like, hey, let's, defrost my windows.
So
Hey,
she wasn't being a prima donna, is what you're saying.
This might be love.
It could be.
With-
But the Paul brothers, I lumped them in because the Paul brothers, I wanted to so bad, like, this is fake. What are you doing? You're all over YouTube, but you're not really doing anything. But they're doing it, though.
They're doing it, man.
They're doing it, though.
They're doing it.
And Logan Paul is out there. He's everything that I wish Shane McMahon was as a wrestler back in the day.
Wow.
Who could actually sell, who could actually tell stories, who actually has respect for the wrestlers that's in the ring. Instead of doing his own thing, I have to go up and do coast to coast. I have to jump off the cage because the Undertaker did it. So I was just go out there and just do it.
Who would have thought
and
Shane
be fine.
McMahon would be Double H Trigger?
As a businessman, he's fine, but as a wrestler, Shane McMahon is a fraud.
Wow.
Okay, and let's.
All right, so cross Shane O'Mac off possible list of guests in the future on the Side Hustle podcast.
My goodness, like you're a 50-year-old whatever.
Got to retract my request.
Trying to jump off cages and stuff, trying to look better than all these other wrestlers, and Snoop Dogg had to save you because you couldn't keep up with the Joneses at WrestleMania.
He pulled a daddy and pulled both his quads. No, but no. So what? Don't forget he also called himself the best wrestler in the world. Don't forget about that. Yeah, people forget about that storyline. It was bad. It was really bad. That's late 2010s WWE, and it was hard to watch. But nevertheless,
Like I said, It wasn't all gold in the WWE.
Just don't forget we said this kind of stuff when we bash AEW because we don't think WWE is perfect either. There's a lot of stuff they need to work on.
That is true. It's just that Triple H is just doing a great job.
Because we were at such a low point in the booking and this guy has the difference with Vince is he was around the business, but he had a vision and it worked before.
Yeah.
But you have to adjust for the times you're in. And Triple H has been in the ring.
Yeah.
He's been through multiple generations.
Yeah.
He was in the Attitude Era. He was in the Ruthless Aggression Era. He wrestled in the 2010s. He knows what different people want.
And he booked at NXT for years.
He did.
He learned from his mistakes at NXT. I mean, imagine if Daniel Bryan did the same. If Tony said, "Hey, Bryan, I'm gonna give you Ring of Honor. You run Ring of Honor for the next couple of years. You write the show. You have full control. I'll step in when necessary, but you have full control of Ring of Honor or AEW, whatever. Give it a few years and maybe he'll come around." Bryan will never get that opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know with Bryan, just from a standpoint of he's still too much of a wrestler.
But that's the point. What at one time, so was Triple H.
Yeah, but Triple H always had his foot in the door when it came to being that kind of. I'm not saying Bryan's not a good leader because he is, but it's the management side of things. Triple H was doing that back in like 2012. Like he's been in that arena and was slowly groomed and saw what to do and what not to do. Bryan was just wrestling.
Triple H actually took time off. If you guys, longtime fans, if you recall the Triple H Batista feud in 2005, when Batista won at, I believe it was a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Triple H wrote off television. Triple H took the entire summer off of 2005 due to injury, but he was backstage shadowing Vince.
He learned the business in a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan obviously has a great mind, and he can call a match, and he can be a great agent. But as far as leading a promotion as the owner, booker, whatever it is, don't know if he's quite there yet.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's very tough, and I'm not saying it's easy either, but it's difficult. Speaking of difficult, this is a tough list. So everyone not named Becky Lynch that could be a possible, defeater of Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
This is tough. I had to get creative with this a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say. I was like, "Are you gonna be able to come up with 5 names?"
I
for
did,
this?
and then I probably had a few more honorable mentions. I'll give one out right away because I think she has the ability to be a star and she looks different. Nikita Lyons in NXT. This is obviously down the road, that kind of thing, but she's strong. She has her finisher, like besides the split thing that Naomi does or whatever it is, or Trinity, like the kicks she throws. It's like holy shit! It's like those. Looks like Goldberg kicking Bret Hart in the 90s. That looks rough.
That's true. Yeah.
But like she has that kind of it factor too. The beauty obviously comes with it, but the ability to talk, that kind of stuff. I could see her being on Rhea's level one day. Someone Triple H would want to push, essentially.
Triple H has his type.
He does. He definitely does.
So does Shawn Michaels.
Not talking to you, Trish. Number 5 on the list. This is actually a name you're going to recognize. Bianca Belair. So, right now she's obviously on SmackDown, kind of toiling away in the middle of nowhere. There is still an off chance she wins the Royal Rumble and challenges Ripley. There's obviously seeds about her challenging Io Sky, possibly, but she could maybe have a thing with Bayley after eventually Damage Control turns on Bayley and be like, you know what? You get yours, I'm going to go get mine. Me and Rhea never really had that match.
Yeah.
And those two will be fun to watch. Also, it's Bianca Belair. So, I mean, it's kind of... Yeah. She is one of the biggest stars in the company, and it's believable she could beat Rhea at some point. You kind of have to factor that in a little bit to this. Like, who is actually believable to beat Rhea? And I think Bianca is near the top of that list.
And they've intertwined with each other at NXT. They pretty much came up together, essentially. So it's just a natural rivalry. And like you mentioned before, Kyle, it is the name factor. It is, hey, we need somebody credible to take this championship off of Rhea. Belair could be, that's the name that jumps out.
Unfortunately, the next name you may not be a big fan of, but I have to bring this up. So, number 4 on the list, Tiffany Stratton. We said Triple H has a type.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Miss Stratton, she does fall like perfectly in the category of that.
Yeah.
All the jokes aside, though, she actually, especially in that Becky feud, she kind of showed her worth a little bit in there. The range of being able to talk, having that personality, and obviously fantastic in the ring. Any woman that's coming out of NXT now, you just see the difference, the training they've went into, that kind of stuff. She's my number 4. I think that's a possible. It's down the road, and this is obviously, like we said, assuming Becky doesn't beat her.
Right.
Rhea's going to be champion for a while. That gives her time to establish herself and bring it up.
Now, I do have a question. Is she effective in a babyface role?
So I think at that point, Rhea would be the babyface.
Rhea would be.
I think kind of already Rhea is, if we're being honest. At this point, she's shared everywhere. It's the almost like you're bad, so you're cool type thing.
Wait, did you just say she's shared everywhere?
Well, yeah, she is too.
No. There's only. No, man, that's not right.
Okay, so like social media shared everywhere. People are always sharing their pictures. I didn't say shared, but I can add that in. Yeah, so there you go.
Dom ain't gonna
Epiphany
like
Double A is the best one to watch.
Dom ain't gonna like that, man.
Oh, whatever.
Dom ain't
what about her actual fiance?
Who, Buddy? Man, don't worry about him.
Poor Buddy.
Poor Buddy.
Call him Cucky.
Man. Who does she spend time
Pete's
with?
rolling his eyes
holidays?
right now. He's like, damn.
Who went to jail and did hard times over a holiday? A few hours. Who did it? It was
in
Dirty
county.
Dom.
He's dirty, all right. That haircut's ridiculous. All right.
He came out. He was like, I did hard times.
Boy, no, you did not. All right.
Man, I'm Dirty Dom's, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
He's on the list to beat Roman.
He is.
He's number 5 on the list.
He
It's
is.
a possibility. Tiffany Stratton, number 4. Number 3, this one may surprise you a little bit.
Interesting.
So, Liv Morgan is my 3. When she comes back, which will probably happen at the Rumble, we're going to talk about surprise entrance next week, that kind of thing. The story's there. And I think now the support is even more there for her, too, after the whole weed situation. And, again, I guess they found out maybe it wasn't hers. It was somebody else in the car.
Oh, of course.
Which, whatever. I mean, it's, yeah. But,
of course, anytime that happens, you actually gain fans,
Look at Matt Riddle.
But then, until you find out you're not intelligent, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's when you've got leaders of certain
Matt
companies.
Stryker, what do you got to say about Matt Riddle? What do you got to say there, Mr. Stryker?
Rough. But I mean, Liv has that.
So
built-in
was his
story.
commentary back in the day here
oh
too.
my God, so bad. She has the popularity. She has the story with Rhea. I think she'll have a push at some point when she gets back. It's probably not going to be to win the Rumble, though some people are calling for her to win the Rumble and face Rhea. I think we kind of know where that's going as far as the Rumble's concerned. But post that,
She could be in the Final Four.
She definitely could. And I think she could be someone that Rhea looks at as an opponent maybe even as soon as Perth, Australia. I mean, someone that she trusts to work in the ring with her. I'm assuming Rhea's going to work the show because it's her home country. We know Roman's not, but nevertheless.
How about that?
He's working 2 shows like the next 6 months. It's insane. Give me that guy's schedule, please. But nevertheless, Liv is my number 3. So it's a possibility. Again, people, it's tough. It really is. Because believable too, she's gotten lucky. She's beaten Ronda Rousey.
She has.
Twice, technically. So I'm just saying, the room is there for another miracle from Liv Morgan.
And you want another star? You want another star? Liv could be that person. I had a chance to meet her after an NXT show years ago.
How was that?
Really nice.
Oh yeah, she
really
seems super nice.
Yeah.
Does she offer you some kush?
No.
Some bud?
No.
Huh?
No.
Yeet?
She was pure.
Yeet. Hey.
There was no yeet.
Hey. Yeet.
No yeet. She was pure. Pure.
I'm sure she was. Everyone from New Jersey is. Number 2.
So is people from Blue Mountain State.
This one is going to actually shock you. I don't know if you saw this through the paper or not. So you're telling me there's a chance when she's done showing her big old titties over. I can see it. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate of me. When she's done with her OnlyFans career and making all that money and wants to make some more money, that was honestly one of my favorite
Make
factions.
more money. She ain't gonna make no more money here.
Well, she'll make some. If she's coming back, she's gonna be a top attraction.
She'll make some change. I mean, she won't.
She's almost got more of a following now from everything. But Mandy Rose, I loved Toxic Attraction. Mainly because also Gigi Dolan is like,
yeah,
that's not fair. But nevertheless, I love you, honey, by the way, but still, like, my God. She has that it factor too. I think Mandy, when she went down to NXT, really proved herself a lot.
She did. She had a phenomenal run at NXT.
And she is, if she has the faction with her, because again, short-term memory loss, if she brings that to the main roster, there's some rumblings, no pun intended, she could be one of those people in the Rumble. She hasn't come out and denied it. There's been some like, hey, some feelers out. Triple H, obviously, a little different as far as how he wants to go about things, that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, if she tones it down a little bit on OnlyFans and she brings it back to the ring, there's a possibility. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't believe she would be allowed to be back if OnlyFans is still in the picture. I think she would have to
maybe go back to just
delete.
like the fans only page or whatever it is.
Well, remember the original issue was that she never told anybody.
Yeah.
About those pages.
So we think. I mean, it's all. It's all.
She
subjective.
didn't tell the people she needed to tell.
Yeah,
in there.
But
like,
at the
I'm
same
sure
point,
she told some people within WWE, and they didn't complain.
Yeah,
like there was someone who didn't.
Those
complain.
prudes backstage.
Yeah,
get over it. It's 2024. She's a woman. Let her express herself.
Yeah, there's some people backstage. They
Come
didn't
on.
mind. You know?
What she does with her body is none of your goddamn business.
Can you imagine though if she was one of the surprises at the Rumble?
Can you imagine if she like came back with like Gigi and JC back in that group? They were, and the problem is too, you put so much time into that group.
You did.
At NXT, like I know that was hard to watch. Part of that NXT, kind of like AEW, but the main events, Braun Breaker and Toxic Attraction, were awesome. Like it made sense. And I'm just saying, if they wanted to go that route, obviously she's gonna get some help from her stablemates. But I was kind of like the Undisputed Era. The biggest what if in main roster.
So far, you're from 5 to 2.
Yeah.
You have women in there for the most, other than Bianca.
Yeah.
You have women in there who are not currently in the universe of the main roster.
Well, Liv technically is, but she was on break.
Like
Actively, yeah.
Actively, yeah. So
you're not gonna like the last one because she isn't either.
But we'll see. I mean, one of them has to make sense. But what's number one?
Yes. So, number one. Can I get a drum roll?
We have an actual drum in here.
Oh.
I told you, the studio is
Oh
on
God.
point.
Oh
The
my
studio
God.
is on
Did
point.
you not notice the drum set?
There's an actual drum set right back here.
Does that count? Is that really a drum set? It looks like a rock band.
No, it's. A
I'm
drum
sure
set.
you
It's
can
it's
actually
an
play a
electronic
drum.
set.
Hold on, let me.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the drums. I'm going to the drums. Where are the sticks?
God. So now I have to do commentary on Double A doing drums.
Hold up, here we go.
Are we gonna hear it?
Oh, we got. Oh,
Yeah, that sounds just like a drum.
Hey, man.
You sound like you're killing it on Barracuda.
Oh, we don't have.
Yeah.
But we have a drum set.
Wait, you're telling me you weren't prepared for Double A to try and play the drums behind the scenes on this live podcast? Oh, that's great.
No, I wasn't, but I will be prepared for next time.
Hey, man.
Jeez.
Hey, man. I told you we have a drum set in here, man. And
Anyway.
the studio has everything.
Anyway, number one on
You probably
the
didn't
list.
notice the guitar over there either. So.
I did see the guitar.
Okay.
I legit thought that was like Rock Band, circa 2008.
No, that's an actual electric drum set.
Wow, how about that? Okay, so it's like Muse in here. Number one.
That's what happens if hopefully you come to the Liquid Death Studios.
We're working on that. Hey, don't forget, do it again. Double shot. There you go. Nice. It's a really cool logo too. I like the old English types. That's great. Number one.
Man, she ain't coming back, man. Man, put that list away, man. She ain't coming back, man.
I have a theory. Not an Austin theory, but a theory. That she's been signed to WWE for a little bit now. And the Rumble is going to be her. If you're looking for a number 30, does that mean she wins? I don't know.
I have a theory. If you think about that, there's going to be a lot of disappointed fans.
On TikTok, all the AEW fans.
There's going to be a lot of disappointed fans. Ain't no way. There ain't no way she's coming back to WWE. None.
Trinity's coming back as well.
Trinity, yeah.
So
she ain't coming back.
So there's some rumors, too, about her as far as her schedule and what she has dates left with TNA, that kind of stuff.
Well, she said goodbye to the TNA audience.
Yeah, so
she'll be back.
Yeah.
Sasha is not coming back.
So, but there's the thing. They left together. She's had her run in New Japan. You know, she's had the conversations with AEW, but she's also been able to see that women's division.
It's non-existent. Well, not non-existent. That Toni Storm is doing a great job over there.
Yeah, she's doing okay. I love Toni too.
She's doing a great job.
Another fumble by WWE as far as her is concerned. I think she would have been great. But Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, these kind of talents on the WWE, the NXT girls, Roxanne Perez, Tiffany Stratton, Cora Jade, but hopefully when she gets better. I know she had torn ACL recently, whatever it was. That's unfortunate.
Out for a year.
The talent pool and the way the women are booked now, especially. And part of this goes to her for leaving in the first place and giving more of an emphasis. Damage control, being a dominant storyline, that kind of stuff. With her friend. I'm just saying, there is a clear avenue back, and that is someone believable that could beat Rhea Ripley.
Now, ain't no way she's coming back.
You're just trying to speak this on into existence.
There's no way.
Why?
Well, but this is a podcast, so let's entertain it for a hot second.
She is the ultimate. If Seth Rollins is the Triple H guy, this girl is the Triple H girl. He put so much into her. In NXT, that's where she was best booked, by the way, too. I think you may have said that before at some point.
True.
Best booked in NXT, Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
But
she left under Vince McMahon direction.
She did.
Yeah.
100%, because she wasn't happy with how her and Naomi were getting booked as tag champs, that kind of
stuff.
What
was the storyline? The Raw that actually led to her leaving.
So they were tag champs, or they were going for the tag, one of those two, and they were booking her. They were booking them individually to go for the women's title. They were disrespecting the division at that point.
Mm-hmm.
She also
but there was no build. It was just like,
it was very much like it was
show's on the air. Hey, we got this going on. And
Michael called them out a little bit, and I'm sure Triple H apologized for that too, because again, they still have that communication. When she won her championship, who was the first person to give her a call? Triple H.
Triple H.
When she got hurt and was going to be out for a long time, possibly ruining that AEW debut, that kind of stuff. Who was one of the first people to call her and see if she was okay?
Triple H.
It's the genuine love and care and the connection that he has with some of these guys and girls that bring them back. I'm just saying.
All right, let's end with this because I know we're short on time.
Yeah.
Fatal Four Way, the Smackdown main event at the Rumble. Roman Reigns, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. I think we're both in agreement that Roman's going to win, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately. It's lol, Roman wins.
Who should or who should not take the pin?
There's two guys in this match that should not take the pin. Their names are Roman Reigns and AJ Styles.
AJ, okay.
So Randy can take a pin because he's Randy Orton. That is what it is. His reputation is not going to get built out by that if he gets cheated out of it, whatever it is, that kind of stuff. Also, LA Knight's already had a shot at Roman. He is set and destined, so it seems, for a feud with possibly Logan Paul for the U.S. title going into Mania.
Right.
That being said, AJ Styles hasn't had that one-on-one opportunity with Roman this go-around yet. That's a match. If they don't drop, if it's Rock and Roman at Mania, Roman's winning.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have those opponents for him. AJ Styles is a Saudi show. He's a possible SummerSlam type guy. They've built him as that kind of guy. Him losing that match, not good. Not good taking that pin.
I'm gonna say there's only one person that can take the pin, and I'm gonna say it's Orton.
Really?
I think right now LA is in a position where he has had to take a back seat because Punk came back, because Orton came back. Everybody else is coming back, and they're not really letting him talk as much lately. Maybe he will on Friday. Maybe the next 2 Fridays, they'll let him talk. Oh, yeah, they do have the contract signing this week.
Yeah, so it's going to be a thing, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll talk. But if you want to build that L.A. Logan Paul match, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Hold up. Now I'm thinking about it.
So the match...
You did say it's Logan Paul. So if L.A. did... I might change my mind on the fly here. Because... I might. Because if L.A. takes the pin, Logan comes out...
You couldn't even beat whatever. And
Logan,
I took Roman to the limit. You couldn't even handle it.
Logan Paul can make you want to destroy him in a moment's notice.
So what they can do, too, is the same thing they did, I think, last year. U.S. title elimination chamber type thing, that kind of stuff, or whatever it is. Or even could be the person to challenge Logan Paul. Because they're making it a scene. Now every time a challenger becomes available for Logan Paul, it was a tournament before. Now it could be 6 competitors for the U.S. title. LA Knight finds his way in there. That's where the shit talking starts.
It's a 6-pack challenge.
But the reason why I say
featuring a play-in.
Exactly. Orton or Paul or Orton or I should say LA Knight is because I think the match for WrestleMania is Randy Orton versus AJ Styles.
That's a good one.
That is a good match.
That's good.
Because they don't really have, you mentioned before, too many main event players, who's doing what.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where they can branch off now.
I want to see AJ, though, as a legitimate heel, though. Legitimate.
People aren't going to boo Randy, so that gives him a chance to be the heel.
Yeah, like if you're going to have a character, if you're going to come out and wear pants, if you're a Georgia man
jeans
wearing jeans.
Black jeans. And a trench coat, like you're about to shoot up a school.
You need to be a heel.
That was a really bad reference, by the way, sorry.
That was a terrible reference.
That was awful. Yeah.
You got to apologize to the camera.
I felt really bad after I said that. But the problem is, like, when my mind goes, it just goes. And the cool part is, I don't have a boss.
He
so
cannot wear pants and be a babyface. You have to be a heel.
You have to wear your underwear.
You have to wear your drawers.
Yeet.
No yeet.
No yeet. The black and blue AJ Styles is gone. Now he's just all black jeans, black get up. He may start wearing eyeliner, so you never know. We'll see what happens.
That is Fox News AJ Styles. You need to be...
Oh, man. Is it possible to get canceled 2 shows in? Just out of curiosity for you guys at home.
That's why Jinder Mahal is here to bring us together.
Don't hinder gender.
That's why.
You'll regret it.
Needs to bring us together.
You're going to regret it. You're going to start playing the drums off camera. Don't do it.
By the way, the world title match was okay on Raw. It was fine.
It wasn't bad. It was what I expected.
It was what we expected.
Try to make you think Jinder's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Indus over the Singh brothers as reasonable people to interfere in matches.
True.
They were combined the same weight as Darby Allin, so it's good to see that now they've got some grown adults in there to actually interfere. So,
man, that's something. All right, next week.
Yes, Royal Rumble preview show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to dive into double. You talked about it, kind of the Final Fours, who we think's going to win. We'll talk about surprise entrance, that kind of stuff. We'll kind of review a few things, answer some more of your guys' questions. Feel free to reach out on social media. Like I said, it's at Side Hustle Pod 216. That's on YouTube, TikTok. Double A's obviously handling some stuff on the Facebooks and maybe the Twitters or whatever it is, X's, that kind of stuff. Again, I'm at studio, so that's why I'm not on social media per se. But I do handle the TikTok, so feel free to reach out there if you want to get directly in contact with me. Otherwise, you're going to talk to the superstar of the show. He is the eye candy, the man of the hour, the product endorser, that kind of man. So, also Liquid Death, we're coming for you, by the way. Hope you realize. I just want to give you guys a heads up, whether you're watching this or not. We're definitely coming after you guys, and we're going to try and make this a thing because you have a really good product.
This is really good.
It's like really good. So we
multiple
kind of want to
flavors too.
We kind of want to work with you. We want to expand your empire in Northeast Ohio. So,
all right.
Yeah, we love our water up here.
All right. It's time to go home before the side hustle becomes the May hustle.
Yeah, there it is. Yeet.
No yeet.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.